welcome back to my channel. It is week 3 of our summer school, and this week we are going to the solar system. Okay, not literally, but figuratively, we're traveling to the solar system. I'm super excited for this week. I've never really done a big space theme, only because there's not too many standards besides like the sun and rotation and orbiting that really are concerning to any of the grades that I've taught. So I'm kind of excited to have some fun with this week. So I will take you through our week in space. But in other news, I did do my nails this weekend, and I feel like they're super cute. They're like this whole mermaid vibe, and I'm really digging it. I also got a new phone this weekend, which now you could see every blemish and tired eyes and wrinkles I have, but we're just keeping it real over here. So thanks for loving me regardless. Being that I'm a new teacher at this school, me as a person, I'm not yet linked to like everything in the school, like emails and all that stuff, so they always have to add me. So they changed the prep schedule, and guess who didn't get it? So I sent my kids to the wrong special today, and then as I was like walking in the hall, we have a new music teacher, so I was like, hey, what's up, how's it going, is your day going okay so far? And he was like, yeah, I just can't find my class. And I was like, okay, well, I hope you find your class. And guess whose class he was looking for? Me. So we got it all sorted out and everything, and now I have the new schedule, which is great. And now the other teachers know that I'm also not on the email list, so hopefully they'll start forwarding it to me. But luckily, like, everybody here is like so helpful, and I looked lost, so they just helped me on my way, which is awesome. But I will definitely be taking you through our space adventures this week. Stay tuned. I'll get back to you later today about what we do today. Okay, I can't even lie to you. The Monday did get a little crazier. I guess there's a school near our school whose AC went out, like completely. And of course, it's like the first day in Vegas that it's like 110 degrees, so there was no way that they could stay at their school. So they finessed something to where all of their kids that are doing summer camp came to our school. So we have like an extra like over 100 kids at our school, I think. But luckily our school is like gigantic, and you honestly can't even really like tell that there's like extra kids besides lunchtime, but I don't have to deal with that. So it wasn't like so much an effect on me, but the people were super, super nice, and I always love getting to like network with new people and new teachers. So it was kind of cool to like get to know or get to meet some other people too. But hopefully for their sake, their school has AC soon, because they had to like ride the bus here, and then they're gonna have to ride the bus back to their school, which is kind of crazy. But on to what we're doing this week. So of course, you know, we're doing solar system this week. So the last time when we opened up the beach, we did just kind of like a circle map, and then last week we did like an interactive anchor chart, like if they've ever been to the ocean. So I wanted to do something different again. So today I brought in the KWL. So let's take a look at what our KWL looked like. So I did not make a pretty beautiful chart, I'm sorry. Later in the year, I'll give you anchor chart inspiration, but today it's just a basic KWL. So what we know, what do we want to know, and then we'll end up with what we learned. So to start with what we know, their schema was actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. But we talked about space, planets, spaceship, aliens, helmets, space rocks, astronauts, and rockets. So then we went to what do we want to know? So what foods do astronauts eat? What animals go to space? Do they bring suits to breathe? Are aliens real? And of course, as soon as one of them said it, it led to like a whole plethora of alien questions. So we limited it to 2. So then, do aliens learn? Is there a school in space? And is there gravity in space? So we are also extending our knowledge to talk about what we learned. So today we looked at this book, The Magic School Bus Lost in the Solar System. For kinder kiddos, it is very extensive, I'm not gonna lie to you. So we are gonna kind of break down the book according to what we're talking about that day and kind of take it a little bit at a time. For our Monday lesson, it revolved all around the solar system. So we made these awesome solar system headbands. Yep, don't be jealous, I know it's lovely. So we made these awesome headbands, and then we also made a flip book about the solar system. I have one right here. So what it looked like was the order of the planets, and it had this cute little astronaut. We like very much coached and scaffolded cutting it through because our flip books last week, they weren't a disaster, but we just needed flip book help. So then this was like the bottom, and after they cut this one out, they had glued it on top. And then we wrote each one of the planets in order. So I'm not gonna so much like be a drill sergeant on them knowing all of them in order, but I think it would help them if they knew them in order, just to help them remember the 8 of them. So that was our whole focus of today, was all 8 planets. There is like a really cute Storybots video on a song for the 8 planets, and I guess my kids informed me that it's also on Netflix. So the students were kind of familiar with the 2 characters in the song, so they actually really enjoyed it, which was good. So if you didn't know, the Storybots on Netflix seems to be worthy of watching or giving it a look at for some teacher stuff too. So that was our day of the solar system. The headbands took a long time. This Mr. Sun was very difficult for them to cut, but they honestly, just with having been out for like the COVID, they needed the practice in cutting. So I didn't let them give up, and we took the time to do it because I cannot send them to first grade without being able to like cut and decently. So we've been fixing, a lot of them honestly didn't even know which holes to put their fingers in. So we've been working on like the proper way to hold our scissors, the proper way to cut with the scissors, where to put our fingers in the scissors, and then now we're working on these lovely curvy lines. So that was our day in the solar system. Tomorrow we are going into the sun, so I'm excited for that. We have a cool craft lined up, so I will keep you posted on all things sun. And last but not least, I had told you guys last week, let me take my headband off, I'm sorry, that I was starting to clean out this cabinet. So I did actually get it started, which you might not be able to tell, but so I'm getting somewhere. You can still see the bottom's a hot mess, but however, this top shelf, she had all this paper in here, and I'm really trying to like learn to not be a hoarder. But I can't lie, I do like to have like some lined paper. I always love having the sentence strips, and then like construction paper, even though our lounge is like filled with construction paper, and there's even like an area that's like not too far from my classroom that has it. I do like to keep some in my cabinet, just because if I think of something like a last minute craft, or maybe I didn't cut enough for any reason, or let's say you had something planned and then you have to take someone's kids for the day. At least I know I'm always prepared with those type of things. So I do like to keep some colored paper. So it's coming along. I'm like about halfway through. I do want to try to finish it by Wednesday the latest, so that I could start bringing like my own boxes to fill the cabinet with. Because I do need to see, like, I didn't have a wardrobe like this last year, so I had like other things, or I just had it all over the place honestly, and kind of confined it since I left kinder. So I just kind of need to see organization wise what buckets and containers and stuff I need to get. So I'm giving myself the goal of Wednesday to have it completed. I'll let you know if we get there. Okay, so these are our flip books, just the order of the planets, and then we have Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and then they just went all the way through, and he did a really good job. And then we did a sharing activity. Okay, so today was day 2, the sun. I wish I would have recorded the morning, because the morning was going so smooth, and this afternoon was just like, it just felt super hectic. And they were fine. We just have like this one rotation in the afternoon where the mix of boys that are in it, we really need to evaluate that group and kind of mix them up, I think, for the future, because it's just, they're a rowdy little group. So it's like, whew, that group. But all I'm gonna say is we kind of had catastrophe with a bird today outside, and they were trying to like attack a bird. It was like the saddest thing ever. So we had to have like a coming to Jesus of like We don't treat nature that way. It was bizarre. It's so heartbreaking when you see like kids trying to like be mean to animals. So we had like a talk, and it was hard because it wasn't my class, but we had to like have that conversation still, just because it just wasn't okay. But anyways, that's just those little things that get added into our teacher life. But we did talk about the sun today, and we did a really cool project. We didn't get to finish it today, and typically anytime I paint, and if it's like a two-step project, which this one was, we would do like the painting in the morning so that this way it could dry and then we could finish it like later on. So because though we have the rotations, like we did the painting today and then we're gonna have to like wrap it up tomorrow, which I really hate pushing it to another day because then it like pushes into what I want to do tomorrow, but it's okay. I'm gonna give you an overview though of what it should have looked like today, and then tomorrow I'll show you like their finished product. But today we made these like really cool suns, and what we're gonna do tomorrow is they will get one of these, and together as a class we'll talk about what the sun is, what it gives us, and I'll be looking like for all those descriptive adjectives and like facts that we learned about the sun. And then they will cut it out, we'll glue it onto blue paper, and then we will line the sun that we painted up with it so that this way it could kind of be like a flip. So I thought that would be super cool, and these suns turned out so cool. I can't even lie to you, this morning I posted on my Instagram, but I was like so afraid to do this because I've never done this type of painting before, but I'm gonna walk over to the table so that I could show you what it all looked like when it went down. Okay, so let's talk about like how with these groups my room's like an absolute disaster right now, and it's really killing me. But so they had just this template, and what we did today was like they were kind of working on something at those two tables while I was pulling kids to this one, just because I've never done this activity before, so I was a little nervous as to just what it would be like, and I'm very glad I did it this way. So I would definitely pull a small group if you're gonna do this one, just because it is a little hectic for a whole group. But I would kind of put their name on the back and then just set it up in front of them. And then what I would do is I would take some orange paint, splatter it around. I would do some yellow, splatter it around. You can see I'm drying out. And then I would do some red. And I would do little dots or just however. So after I did this part, I just had some like plastic wrap. This was like super cheap Target one. And all I did was I took the plastic wrap and I set it over their sun for them. So once it's over and it's nice and flat, they are just gonna take their fingers and they're just kind of gonna move the paint all the way around to splatter it. So this is my daughter helping us with our example here. But yeah, they loved it though. They were obsessed with it. So I told them the goal was to try to cover like the whole thing, and it was crazy because they thought they were gonna get paint on their fingers, but just like for sensory, like they loved the feeling of the cool paint under it, and it really is like a really cool texture.
It is. It's so like it feels satisfying.
It's satisfying. They all felt the same way.
It's kind of looking like these ones.
Yeah. So when they finished, you could see how like
on my hands though.
When they finished, they ended up being like the coolest colors, and I just mixed like red, yellow, and orange paint.
This is cool. Go smear the paint on mine.
Yeah, smear it all over.
It's modern.
We're gonna try to cover the whole sun.
Cover all of it.
Yeah.
Can we smush?
Yeah, smush it, spread it. We're gonna make a beautiful sun. There we go.
Look at mine.
It looks so good.
It's not even getting on my hands.
No. Are we ready?
Go.
Ooh, how pretty. Okay, so you can see now my daughter's over there like painting her own with other colors. So it was the coolest like just sensory wise, it was the coolest texture. And a lot of them have never done that before. Like I had never done it before. So it was like a really cool and fun project for us to try, which I really liked. So that was like our big thing that we did today during our rotations. And then we also did something, it was kind of like more science related in how the sun affects our Earth. So I'm going to show you what we did. So in talking about the sun today, I wanted to I always like to mix like some type of science in whenever I can, or just kind of just how it could apply to real life, and just thinking of certain things that they'll have to know down the road. One of those things is how the sun affects our Earth, as well as the species that are on Earth. Like that comes up a lot in like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade testing that we take. So I wanted to kind of touch base on it a little bit, because then as they get older, like your high kiddos of course will take it and run with it, and then the others at least like they've had it once, so hopefully if they hear it again, eventually it'll stick with them. So our light bulb here was Mr. Sun, and this basketball represented the Earth, and I wanted to show them just how the side of the Earth that is facing the sun, this is the side that is daytime, and then they would have run over here and they saw how this side was like all dark then. So then this is the side that is now experiencing nighttime. So we kind of talked about like how it changes as the Earth rotates and orbits around the sun. So we talked about all those things today. It was like a really fun way to incorporate that today. So one of the last things that we did today, I have to be honest with you that like they don't seem very strong with their sight words, which I was kind of surprised about, but given the fact that the year was so different, you could just really tell like what things were the focus and which things weren't. Like I think in kinder, teachers probably had to focus so much on just getting them to be civilized citizens when they came back, that they really didn't so much get to focus on the mastery of like certain skills that they need. So I knew sight words was a hard thing, but I was kind of interested to see how well they could decode, how well they could track words in a text. So we did this little book today, and while they were going through and coloring it, I pulled them each one-on-one, and I picked like 2 of the easiest pages just to kind of see if they track the words, how they tracked them, if they read it properly from left to right, if they even attempted decoding, and what sight words they were able to get out of it, just so that like for the next 2.5 weeks that we have left, I do want to try to like start doing more decodables, focus more on reading, tracking, and sight words for sure. So that was like our other thing that we did today. And we had finished up our flip books from yesterday. They looked fantastic now. And all in all, we made it through the day, even after our bird catastrophe. And in case you're wondering, the bird is just fine. We made sure he made it out of our playground alive. I didn't know doing projects on the bulletin board paper from your lab is like the best thing ever, because after they've painted, the cleanup is literally a fold, and erase. And now this could be trash. My tables I will still wipe down, but they're not filled with paint. Teacher win. Alright, it's day 3 of space. And okay, I hate to even admit this, but just being like somewhat of a decor, I just like decorations. So this behind me, and like usually when you guys do this, it's like driving me nuts. But to decorate for like 2 more weeks, but I'm trying to like get ideas for next year. So please drop in the comments any ideas that you have for like behind teacher desk. I usually will do like bookshelves, so then I could have like cute little trinkets and stuff like on them, or like picture frames, but I need your help in like what to decorate, because this blank wall is gonna like drive me crazy. Even though it's blue, I'm so glad it's blue. It's like a sky blue. It's beautiful. It is nice to have a painted wall, so I will not be unappreciative of the painted wall, but the blankness is just killing me. Anyways, so today we were continuing our discussion of space. We dug into the Earth today, which there's a really cool Earth song by the Storybots too. I've loved the Storybots this week, and the kids have too. It's these like 2 little robots, and they've kind of been taking us through space, and they have like a little catchy like song for each one of the different things. So today's was It's a Beautiful World, and it's like, it's a beautiful, beautiful world. So I'm like, now I'm gonna have that in my head all day long, but that's great. So one of the crafts that we did today, we actually did 2 different ones with the Earth. One my class just did solely, and then another was part of like our rotations in the afternoon. So after we had watched the Beautiful Earth song, we kind of discussed as a class how Earth is different from the other planets and why it's different from the other planets. And while they were giving me ideas, we started to use it in our writing for today. So it was like a writing / a craft. So what they were given was a Earth like this, and I can't lie to you, I had like pre-cut this part for them just because I knew it was going to be difficult. Like I made a slash in it so that then they could do the rest of it. And then they were given like a blank one behind it. They were also given a black piece of construction paper, and they needed their crayons. And then specifically they needed their white, blue, and green. So the white, we first made little stars in the background. And then afterwards we did blue and green for our land and our water. And then we ended up discussing as a whole group the ways that Earth is different from the rest of the planet. So as they would talk to me and give me ideas, I would kind of like put them down. And generally I had like some big ones that I wanted to make sure we covered, like how Earth has air, how we have life and water. Like those were like the biggest ones I wanted for them to grasp it, and like they did. So if someone was kind of off, like I just kind of took a couple of them each time before like I selected one to actually put on our paper. So these were the ones that we ended up coming up with. So it has life, and then we did write a sentence, but I did not cut mine out very well, so sorry about that. But it has life, it has trees, and again we like did the sentence, but mine just was not cut well. And then we did it has water, and then theirs was it has air. So I will make the suggestion, because when I did my modeling one, as you can see, I did the sentences first in the writing before I had put it all together. So then now some of it's cut off. Whereas theirs, we put the craft all together first, and then we went back and like did the writing and everything. So I would suggest to you to do the writing portion and the pictures last. Like put the whole craft together first and then do all of that. But this was part of Stephanie Trapp's whole unit on space, which is amazing because it's like another one of those units where like every single day she breaks down and gives you like a before reading, after reading, books, there's math and literacy, like there's literally everything you can need with it. And then of course, like we in the afternoon have our time like rotation, so I kind of just take from it what I want to, but she literally has everything in there for you. So I would always rather be over prepared than under prepared. But then let me show you what we did for our rotations today too, because this was a lot of fun. All right, so for this craft they were given water, a paintbrush, the coffee filter, and then blue and green markers. And what they would do, I gave them a bunch of visuals of the Earth, and then they would draw with the green the land, and then they would color it in, and then blue for the water. And then look at how cool this was. One of my students brought in this really cool thing today. It is like all of the planets. His brother made it, and he thought it would be so cool. And I love it just because it just tells me he's going home and talking about what we're doing. But our kids love to see like all the planets, and we talked about each one, and they remembered them all. I was so excited. Hey guys, it's Thursday. It's day 4 of our space week. Today was a really good day. I was kind of congested this morning again, but like I'm already like feeling way better. I had some tea. And like the kids, like I came in today and one of my students, it's like, it's Queen Yeager, and I'm like, I just love you. Like this is why I love kinder, and I just missed it so much. Like they're just such a crack up. Like I had another one that was like, Miss Yeager, do you know what my brother and sister do to me when they roast me? And I was like, what do they do? And she's like, oh, like kinder is just, there's so much life and enjoyment, and you just need that with what we do, you know what I mean? But okay, on to our space ventures for today. We talked about astronauts today, and it was so much fun. So for our astronauts, we did a can have R, which let me show you our can have R. So we did a can have R, and then they also had to be trained to be astronauts today. So here was our can have R. It was like super simple. Like, again, it's summer. I'm like not doing very extensive like anchor charts like I normally would. And sometimes I feel like it's better to kind of keep it simple too. And as I did the can have R up on the board, the kids also followed along with their own astronauts can have an R. We did these really cool astronauts, and I should have kept one of them so that I could show you, but I will show you like an overall picture. They were like so stinking cute. Again, it was from what I did, my pack from Stephanie Trapp. So this is what it looked like. I did that in my rotations today, and they were absolutely adorable. They had so much fun with them. And then instead of them drawing a face, what I did was I cut a hole in the astronaut face, which I will actually show you because I do have it laid out over here. So I had cut a hole in like an astronaut face so that this way when they created their little astronaut dude, like they could hold it up to their face and they would have their face in it. We also did an astronaut training. So I have little clips and tidbits that I'll put after this, me speaking. And it was like, we did a different exercises because I told them that like to be an astronaut, you have to go through trainings, right? Okay, sorry. So you have to go through trainings to be an astronaut. So we did like toe touches, we did jumping jacks, we did an obstacle course like under some of the tables that I have. We had did like a hopping thing, because we talked about all how healthy astronauts need to be, because they're up in space. So they had so much fun with the obstacle course. And then after they did the obstacle course, I told them they were officially astronauts now. So I took all of their pictures, and I found this cute freebie online, an astronaut identification card. So I like printed their pictures right from the computer because they didn't want to wait to get them. They didn't want to wait till tomorrow for me to print them in color from at home. So I just printed them from the computer in black and white. I sent them to my email. They wrote their name. They picked their favorite number. I told them they all got 4 stars for being so awesome during their obstacle courses. And then I actually like always keep a laminator with me at school. So then I like laminated all of them and then got to take them home. They were like beside themselves. But our astronaut day was so much fun. We're going to do a big space day tomorrow. I'm going to make a backdrop in the morning, and I'll probably have them help with some of it because they had so much fun last time. But I am going to attempt to make a rocket ship. So I will let you know how that goes. But I'm so looking forward to day 5. Space was so much fun. And I'm actually honestly so excited now to do it again because there's lots of things that I saw that I just like didn't have time to put together, but I would love to in the future. So I'm like so excited to do space again in the future. All right, it is day 5, our last day of space this week. I'm super excited for the day. I have so much to show you today that I'm so excited about. The kids are at specials right now, so I'm gonna like work very quickly to get the start of our transformation. I do want them to also be part of it because they had so much fun last week just putting up the fish. So my plan is to get some stars hung from our door so that when they come in, they could get the whole like space vibe. I'm also gonna do like a backdrop like I did last week. I couldn't find any black bulletin board paper, so I'm gonna have to do a blue, which that's fine. It is what it is. So I'm gonna have to do a blue. I am gonna attempt to make a rocket ship. We're gonna do kind of like a space station type of vibe. So what I'm gonna do is have like a space center kind of set up. I'm gonna have them pretend to be astronauts later. So yesterday we did our astronaut training, so today they'll put on some astronaut protective gear. I got some like glasses for all of them. I got gloves for all of them to use. We're gonna do one of those, what is it called? Okay, and so like a glove box. We're gonna do a glove box today, which I'm really excited about. I will show you later in the video how I made it. We're gonna do rockets today, and we're gonna talk about the moon. So we're gonna do, one of my favorite things to do with the moon is like with the Oreos and the phases. So I'm so excited for everything space today. It's gonna be an awesome, awesome day. Stay tuned, here we go. Okay, so in our supply area, I had found these really cool science fair kind of boards. So they look like this, and they're kind of like the half-size ones. So what my plan with these, you could see like when you open them up, they're like the trifold. And the cool part that I loved about these is that they're in color. So my whole plan is to kind of take them like this, and I'm gonna try to like tape them to where they stack. I could stack 2 of them and kind of make a like rocket ship with them. I don't know how that'll work out, but that's the vision that I have. So let's see. Okay, so the first thing I did was kind of open up the boards and I laid them out. I'm gonna draw like what I want to be our door. So I'm gonna make it kind of, it's gonna go up, and then like the oval is gonna be at the top. And then after I've cut out the pieces, I'm going to tape the sides together. I didn't have like gray masking tape, so I'm gonna use like this blue tape that I found in the classroom. So here we go. All right, it's time to cut. So I'm just gonna cut out my outline. Okay, so this is gonna be like the top of the door, and then I ended up having like these 2 pieces that I cut. So this one I'm gonna use for the stuff on the side of the rocket, and then these 2 I have to connect, which you can see that's a little crooked, so I gotta fix that a little bit. But yes, time for the taping. Okay, so you could see I have tape down the side, so I'm just gonna tape it and kind of just make sure it's like secured now. So I'm gonna stand it up. I was thinking about doing like a flap on a door, but being that I get like another class too, and it's not just my students, I don't want them to break it and like it just ruined the fun. So I did just like cut the door out completely. Okay, for the top, I'm just gonna do a triangle top. So I'm gonna do this for like the front up there, and then I'll use these pieces to make 2 side triangles. Okay, so here's my triangle that I cut out. I'm gonna tape this now onto the back. I did leave a little bit of a lift or a gap between. I'm not doing it towards the edge, and I'm going over just a little bit because I want it to give it more support. So when I cut out the big triangle, it actually worked out perfectly that I had like these sides left. So this is what I'm using for the side of the rocket. Okay, you guys, it is end of day Friday. It was our space day, and it was so much fun. Okay, I know I said this every other week, but space was by far my funnest day. And now I'm trying to figure out next year during kinder like how we'll be able to incorporate this, because it was such a good time. One of my favorite things that we did today was our my do it yourself DIY glove box. So what we did was we pretended that we were astronauts, and we went outside and did like a whole exhibition of what we found on the planet. So we found moon sand, we found rocks, we found plants, and then we put it carefully into our glove box. We sealed it because, you know, astronauts, they don't know what stuff they're working with when they're exploring, so they can't touch it without gloves and everything. So check out our box, and my son's gonna model what my kids did. Okay, so here's what our box looks like. So on like Pinterest and other places that I've seen it, they had like duct taped and then duct taped rubber gloves to here, but I didn't do rubber gloves only because with COVID and everything, I wanted each kid to have like their own pair of gloves so that like we weren't sharing those type of supplies. So I did it like this to where like they still had the sensation of like having to go in something. And then we talked about how it had to be sealed on the top so that this way when they were looking through it, like the astronauts have to be protected when they're dealing with material is from an unknown place. So we had talked about that. So my son's gonna be over here getting his astronaut gear on. You said you're scared?
Yeah, because I watched videos and there's like spiders and stuff, so.
Okay, I didn't give him any spiders, so don't be fair. Don't be afraid. All right, so he got his astronaut goggles on. Then they were each given a pair of astronaut gloves. And of course, like, they weren't latex, just in case we had any unknown allergies. You never know. And my son here is like allergic to everything, so.
No, only peanut butter and shellfish.
So he's like a good example. And I'm actually, even though the kids used it with the top on, I'm gonna open this up so that you can kind of see what's inside. Okay, so they had the clear saran wrap on it, but they would just stick both hands in, and then they would kind of like feel the different objects. They were able to like, I let them look like over the top. Some of them wanted to kind of not look and guess what the things were.
Is this an acorn?
A pine cone.
Oh. A rock?
Yep, we had rocks in there. So they found some cool rocks outside. We had some sand. Oh, rocket coming in. So rocket coming in.
Branch?
Yep, like a tree. That was our moon sand. Look at his face. Yeah, so they had so much fun with our DIY glove box. Like, it was such a good idea. I found it on Pinterest. So that was awesome. That was so much fun today. Oh, look at this. Oh. Okay, so if you've been following along throughout the week, you would know that, like, I was debating what to do with my supplies. I did get that wardrobe all cleaned out. But now I have, like, all these, like, supplies, like, and I do, like, art projects on art projects that go with, like, our stories and just everything. But I'm so excited. You could just tell it was, like, such a hot day. Okay, long hair problems, sorry. So, dun, dun, dun. Okay, so when I taught Kinder last time, I had one of these wardrobes, and I loved it for the sole fact that I was able to alphabetize all my supplies. So I was able to do, like, pencils, paper, scissors, notebooks, felt, pipe cleaners, you name it. I had it all labeled beautifully. So one of the teachers didn't want this, and I snagged it. So I'm so excited. Now I just need to, like, place it in my room somewhere that it's not gonna, like, take up too much space, or just make it super, super small. But I was so excited for that today. Another one of our rotations today that was so much fun. I had this bucket of flour here, and we talked a lot about the moon today, and the craters on the moon. So all of the kids were given marbles, and they had so much fun with this. So they were given marbles, and they would just kind of like plop the marbles into the flour, and it would like simulate the different craters like in the moon. So we kind of dropped it like all around. So it was so much fun. They loved it. Oh, do you see what we made on the back there? Okay, I really feel like I need to start doing these videos like the beginning of the day because by the end I look such a hot mess. So I'm sorry. But we created this today as a class. I love it. I'm obsessed. Okay, so I only had 8 kiddos today, so it was absolutely perfect because each one of them were in charge of creating a different planet today. We had our sun that I made. I had cut out all the stars, and then they literally just like went nuts putting them all on like our fish last week. And then our rocket ship. But isn't that so cool? We had so much fun making that today. Okay, so something else that we did for the moon today, all the kids were given Oreos, and they had to carefully take off one side of the Oreo. As careful as they possibly could. Haha. So then we would talk about how this is a full moon. And then I had them, I'm using my nail, forgive me. And then I had them take off like half of the icing. You can know I'm tired because I'm being too lazy to get up and go get the knife. So then they took off half, and we talked about how this was like a corner moon. And then we did the last part, which they all just wanted to do this with their mouth. We talked about how then this was like the crescent. So it was super, super fun. They had a great time with it. Of course, their favorite part was eating the Oreos. But they loved it, and it was a great way for them to see the phases. I know there's like the waning moon and the waxing moon and all those different new moon. So we just did the basics, and only because when we kind of talked briefly about it, I just didn't feel like they were fully ready yet. So we kind of stuck with that. And then like if I were to do this in a regular year, I would have probably maybe did this like earlier in the week, started discussing about it, so that then later on we could kind of go in full force of like all of the different phases of the moon. So we just kept the basics today. We talked about the full moon, the new moon, the quarter moon, and the crescent moon. Okay, one of the last things that we did today that was super, super fun, and the kids and I both enjoyed it, we had made rockets today. So in Stephanie Trapp's pack, she had full directions for this along with the rockets that they have to make. So you did have to get a couple other things. You had to get some straws, balloons, and you wanted like some yarn, and you needed some tape. So I did not get enough balloons to where the kids could all take one home, just because I was getting the other class too. So we all did the experiment in class together so they could all feel it, and then I did let them take their rockets and straws home so that this way, if their parents want to, they can try out the experiment at home or use like other variables as well. So all you had to do after they made their rockets, I'd ask them to color them and cut them out. Then they would take a straw, and I would help them tape it. I put 2 pieces of tape. We did one near the bottom, like so, and then we did a shorter one near the top of it, and this was just so that like I knew it was completely stuck to the rocket. Ta-da! After that, I had gotten 2 other pieces of tape, and I did that whole foldy fold that we do, and I placed them onto the rocket like so, and you will see why I did that in a second. I also had prepped beforehand a piece of string, and on the string I had taped the end of it so that this way it was like easier to go through the straw. So then I had to like feed it through the straw, and you want it to come out the other side, so hopefully this goes pretty fast so I don't have you guys here like all day. Okay, so you can see that wasn't too bad. And then you would take a balloon. You don't want to tie it, so after you blow it up, you want to make sure you hold the end of it. All right, time to reposition the camera. Okay, so my son's gonna help me demonstrate. So what we would do after I had those 2 pieces glued on, I would stick it onto the balloon. I would press down just because I want to make sure it's on there. And then the student I would have hold on to this part of the string, and they would stand on this side. And then I would be standing on the opposite side of the room, and we would do a countdown. So here we go. Hold the string tightly. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, so it was so much fun. All the kids got to try it. It was a blast. I love a rocket.
It's stuck. Ready?
You're fired. So just note that you want to make sure the string does not fall through the straw.
Yes.
All right, take 2. Oh. So one thing that the other kinder teacher and I were talking about is how summer school has been so much fun. The kids have had a good time. We as teachers have had a good time, and we were saying how like we wish the learning can be like this all the time, where it's so much less stress. We want to be here every day and wish like summer camp could go longer. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to my break, but like it's just been so enjoyable and just like so needed. Like, it's made me love teaching again, and I'm ready for the year. Space was a fantastic week. We did so many fun activities. I love when my babies try them and they love them too, because then it tells me like my students will love them just as much. Thank you for joining me on our space week. It was so much fun. We did so many fun things. Our space day was fantastic. I can't wait to like upgrade and improve and do it all again. So if you have any other ideas that we can incorporate into our space theme the next time we do it, let me know. I would love to hear them. I love all of our planets. They learned so much this week. I learned so much this week. And I will see you next time.